Unmuted this time. I remember. Let's go. Let's go. All right, Joe. We've seen we've seen good Lord, I can't even say their name. Bad Macro Flipbird. Thank Christ we got there. We've seen them play before. We're familiar with all those names. So tell me, we've just seen VAIL play. What can VAIL do to kind of execute on this, what we'll consider the more well-known team, to try and, get themselves an underdog W here and keep pushing through this top bracket?
Well, as we saw from their last round, they went down a game and it didn't faze them whatsoever. They played cleanly in games 2 and 3, so they're not going to be shaken by an early L. They know that they can be adaptive. They can react to what their opponents are doing. So hopefully there's not just a big enough skill disparity between some of the big names that we hear from the big macro Flipbird team, which is a mouthful. Hopefully they're not going to be just overwhelmed by these players and rise to the occasion here. They don't mind going a game down and they can just stick to their own plan. We know that they are hard on pressing objectives. That is what they sort of stick to their fundamental strategy, really. We know that they love engaging Dreadnought. They love pressurizing Rotom. They come to the team fights and they have a lot of characters that love to get that last hit in. So just sticking to the fundamentals of the game is never really going to betray you in a best of 3. So if they can stick to their philosophy that we saw in that last round, they've got a good chance here.
You say that, and I'm with you. However, Bad Macro Flipbird has faced traditional approaches to this game day in and day out and have taken wins day in and day out. So let me ask you this, Joe. What's a way that maybe VAIL can shake up their approach in this game 2? They did lose game 1 to, again, bring some parity to this best of 3 and see what they can do in a game 3 should they push it that far.
It's hard to say really without knowing the team comps of both of them. It could be a team change at some point, just see how their matchups fare down that bot lane potentially, especially in the early game if they are so objective focused, seeing what sort of attacker roles they bring and how they try and feed those attackers, how that opens up in the early game, how aggressive you can be with the likes of Snorlax if that's your prerogative, if you want to go wiggly and try and get some CC, just some disruption in there. Try and change up the game plan is always something that you want to have open to you if you feel it's necessary. So again, depends on what we know of the team comps, of how you want to react to that, or you just sort of stick to what everyone can play the best. There's always something to be said for that, right? Just lock into what you have tested the most and what you're most comfortable with. And sometimes you can bring it down to coin flips on Zapdos, coin flips on objectives, and sometimes you do have to ride your luck if potentially you're the underdog. Play as best you can and put yourself in those situations to win objectives just by getting last hits in key moments.
That being said, we see these team comps are usually fairly structured, right? One kind of main tank. Eldegoss seems to be the support Pokemon that everyone's using now. So there's not too much mobility there. I think you put yourself at a huge disadvantage if you don't pull up with a Lucario, to be quite honest. So let's just say arbitrarily, for the sake of argument, 3 spots are locked in. What can VAIL do in those last 2 spots? So, we know they're going to, default's going to play that Snorlax. We know Yellow's going to have that Eldegoss going. Leozo, did very good job jungling with Greninja, but is that one of the places they can change? Because Super SP was their Lucario up top.
Yeah, I mean, hard to say really. Again, we don't really know just how comfortable these players are switching it up, and we don't know yet what Bird are playing. We don't know what Flipbirds are maining. So
Mr. Mime, of course, that's Bruv, great streamer there, and they're rolling downstairs here as Bulbasaur is where Chris Heroes, sponsored by C9, Cloud9, is playing here in the bottom lane, and VAIL's got a lot of work to do as we see Cinder. They showed up with the same comp. Leozo switching to Cinderace, worth noting there, as we've got a little bit of bullying going on in this contestable Audino, as default is kind of put against the rails, getting behind that Mr. Mime wall and sliding back in. Come on, Snow Point's putting pressure on.
Yep, Brock doing a good job here, laying those barriers up and also fake outing that Audino, getting the experience for themselves. Snow Point's getting aggressive here as well, trying to get a last hit on Audino if possible, and has been able to get out there, was pressurized that little bit. Early action for Lucario's at the top, but I think some points coming in there as well. So as you can see, looks like we're seeing a lot of aggression coming in from Big Bird already, as they are mopping up some free experience and snow points. A little bit behind on XP, but nothing too scary, as you do normally feed the higher DPS in these openings. And Brav looking to swipe early as the bees are about to pop up.
Yeah, interesting to note here is the use of the barrier by Bruv, and we saw them. It opened up the door to take a couple of those Audinos as they mow through these bees and push forward. But they're using that wall to create separation from that melee character Snorlax, so they can't close out on farm, and they are able to contest more strongly. That being said, the jungler, I believe that's Lyozo, the Cinderace, or now the Raboot, went down there. Worth noting, as we are kind of back to our standard protocol here in the bottom lane, working through our own mobs, maybe contesting a little bit and hiding in the grass together. Chris Hero, Snow Points, and Bruv, as they're going to try and get this last Audino here. Not quite sure they closed it out, but pressuring strong and making it out not worse for wear.
Bruv is being pinpoint with these barriers. I think he's got all of them spot on so far, really making the most out of Mr. Mime. Kind of a more challenging character to play, I feel, than the likes of Snorlax, but if you can get those measurements right, you really are a powerful character. And so far, impressed with how Bruv is navigating this Mr. Mime, as he really has been helping out his team. As you can see, Chris Hero's in the mix here as well. Looks like the Cinderace is the advantage right now, as Raboot has just about caught up and evolved. Lucario did go down. He's coming back up that top lane, so a bit of action going on upstairs, as right now they're just trying to batter each other in the middle here, giving no one easy position right now, as we're coming up to Dreadnought fairly soon. No one peeling down just yet, but the bees are finally here.
Yeah, bees are going to be contested a little bit, and I got to bring it to the attention again is Bruv, their confusion shots and the barriers are just very clean, and that's a key to a successful Mr. Mime, is not only being able to, use the Pokemon equivalent of the shotgun blast to the chest of the barrier confusion combo, but also being able to whirl around and send a Pokemon flying into a wall and dealing heavy damage that way. Dreadnought is here. They're chipping away at it, drawing it away a little bit, maybe to try and trick Orange into overcommitting into it and falling into a trap here, as Bruv bubbles out VAIL and Yellow. And now Chris Heroes is just chipping in still into Dreadnought, waiting. Cinderace finally here. Gosu easy peasy. TTV melting it down as they are able to take it and immediately pushing into the goal zone. That's a straight back for both the Mime and Lucario, as they're going back on top to contest Super SP, as the points are just raining in that bottom goal zone, and VAIL doing their best to defend, default defending there in that bottom goal zone, but not much, as they leave it standing with, I believe, just 5 or 6 left on it.
Yeah, not a terrible trade. Rotom going way of Orange team here. Bad macro were able to take that Dreadnought. They committed heavily to it, so they've got that locked down. The level disparity isn't too dangerous here yet either, although we do need to start seeing the evolution of both these Ivysaurs into Venusaurs so they can once again become relevant threats in the game. Gosu coming down bot here to help out, as the goals are flooding in from Orange, and it is going to get out of there in time as well. Quick Unite move trying to snipe that Lax, not quite getting there, but it does mean they can at least get the token bees to continue their farm and make sure they are up on the level game here, as the Snorlax comes right back into the mix with Cinderace here. Really good contest right now going down in this bot lane. Not necessarily an objective on the table, but they are trying to close out the goal zones here, as they're both still up down bot lane for teams here.
Absolutely. All 4 taking on that Audino, Gosu, Easy Peasy, Dexter, and company here, as Gosu goes back to respawn and might start peeling up top. They do. Interesting to see how that shakes out, as all of Orange seems to be down, kind of framing themselves up for that Dreadnought. 16 on the Rotom, 22 on the Dreadnought here. Snow Points and Chris Heroes in that lower goal zone. They're ready to go. Snow Points chipping in. Going to grab this Audino. A little bit of posturing. Orange decides to push, led by Supa and Default here. Heavy Slam nails up that Audino there, and their Cinderace is going to put some pressure on as well. Supa and Default on the back foot. Default getting pressured hard, and that is a weird time to go down for that Snorlax, because that Dreadnought is here, and that's a key component to be able to stem off the other team and being a big body up front. And now Super SP is forced to work their way in. Chris Heroes uses a Unite move straight on Pancakes. The Cinderace sending them back. and that's a heavy slam by default onto the goal zone, not clipping anybody. Bruv on the chase as well, and now they're just mowing them down. Super SP just coming off respawn, going to try and get into this action soon, but finally the Rotom is sent by VAIL down the lane. A Bruv jumping up to intercept here, and Chris Heroes is going to sit in the middle and play the role of defender downstairs. Bruv HD going to work on this Rotom by themselves. Chris Heroes says, I'll give you a little support, kid, and so does Gosu, easy peasy. Rotom, not long for this world, and I'm not so sure it's going to find that goal zone, Joe.
Yeah, I think VAIL, once again, making their sort of strategy known that they go for the Rotom again. It's not like they gave up Dreadnought there, but they definitely committed a good amount of DPS with Venusaur just left basically to his own devices to deal with that Rotom. So not wanting the full 5-on-5 just takes the Rotom while it's available, and they do end up losing that team fight. Some big Unite moves spent by bad macro flips there, but used to good effect here. Bruv blocking off the middle section of the map here as we are mobilizing towards the middle here on the 3:20-minute mark, and we are going to be peeling down bot here. Venusaur trying to get some easy points in, but it's going to be blocked by that lack, so he thinks better of it and gets out of there in a good time to peel downstairs and maybe catch some of these lower hit point Pokemon after a bit of a small team fight going on here.
Yeah, real quick, we saw Super SP get some points in, close that goal zone and back, and that gives them full HP and able to make an impactful difference joining into the fray. And that kind of just sends all of Bad Macro Flipbird scrambling here as we have 23 seconds until Dreadnought, and that is going to be a contestable and defeatable objective here before Zapdos shows up. Taking a quick look at the levels, Bad Macro Flipbird is in the lead on the levels and on the scoreboard, so it's up to VAIL to make a play here, either on Dreadnought or a Jungle Invade or something to try and get that disparity down so that they can have a real strong presence when Zapdos shows up. But lo and behold, it's Chris Heroes, it's Gosu easy peasy, and that's a Dreadnought that is being turned into turtle soup very quickly as Snow Points is just putting some pressure on with Bruv onto the opposing Venusaur Slothgoss. So now they have even larger levels, and now Rotom's here, and they might try and close it out and send it down the lane, do that split approach that we talked about a couple games earlier. They decide to peel off of it, not worth our time. Let's posture for Zapdos because that's how we lose this game, so let's not let it happen. Chris Hero's going to get in the grass. Snow Point's going to sit back. Gosu going to follow Snow Points. Great place to be. They're their backliners there with the support and the DPS. Chris Hero's tired of waiting. They're going to go find somebody. Bruv HD putting some pressure on themselves. And you can kind of see they're bubbling well. Look at that double back cap there by default and Supa. Default peels off almost like an escort job, driving Miss Daisy into that goal zone. And now Bruv goes to score themselves. But we've started, Bad Macro Flipbird has decided to start Zapdos, or at least start chipping in. Finally, we see Dex on the screen, and we know they can do work as they come in. It's a Unite move there, back to back, and they're trying to close the door. Nobody's worse for wear. Those buddy barriers lifting up everybody off the ground. Dexter and Chris Heroes peeling back up, trying to put some pressure on. Pancakes is going to be on the verge here, and so is Slothgoss. Are they able to close the door on either of them? Both of them at the same time. You love to see it, and that is a KO by Dexter. I said I was waiting for it, and they showed up. That's wow. 4 down, and now it's that's great macro. Flip that bird. Let's close the door on this thing, and let's get it done. They're up by 26 points, and now it's just an execution of what they do every single time. Can it be stolen? No, it cannot. Bruv seals it up, and that seals up this game and this match. Your winner, Bad Macro Flipbird, gonna take it down and find themselves in the next level of that winner's bracket. OmniJoe, talk to the kid.
Yeah, I mean, easy dunks at this point. Their level disparity, well, their point disparity is just way too far ahead now. Great team fighting towards the end there. A lot of Unite moves being spent at the right time. And as you said, the DPS goes down, and then suddenly all the tanks follow suit because they just can't stay involved in the fight at that point. And yeah, Bad Macro bird flips or flip birds, whatever it is. They're doing a great job here in this third game. Really well positioned towards that Zapdos pit. Really well organized in those latter stages, not getting drawn away by that Lucario, just sort of letting it leave it to its own devices and just sticking to the team fight. That was the most pressing concern for them. In the end, the scoreboard is a massive disparity. It was close and towards those last few minutes, and the team fight, if it goes the other way, we could be saying there's going to be a different winner here. But ultimately, Flipbirds, they were in a way better position as we were closing out, just sort of on the map, and as you said, with those levels.
I mean, just winning by hundreds there, and it felt like we were just waiting for the boulder to be tipped over the edge of the mountain there. The whole game, it was just inching closer, and Dexter finally coming in, bang bang, getting 2 KOs in a row onto Slothgoth, onto the Cinderace. Pancakes, and then immediately that flipped, as you said, the DPSs went down, and immediately that turned into 2 more, and then the whole team just ransacked on top of that Zapdos, mowed it down. Supa tried to make a play at the end to try and give them a chance, couldn't close the door, and what does that mean? Bad macro flip birds find themselves a little bit further in the winners bracket.